Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, 2 more suspects arrested in the theft of the Tabernacle in El Campo.
Goliad County Sheriff Roy Boyd provides insight on how the illegal immigration crisis affects that county.
And a 3-year-old child drowns trying to cross the Rio Grande.
We'll be talking about the rather warm weather that we have for the last week of summertime. We did get up to 97 today, but there's a little bit of a cooling trend coming in, and we'll be talking about that coming up in a moment.
And in sports, the athlete of the week made a school record. We see how in sports.
You're watching 25 News now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Don Brubaker.
And I'm Karina Garcia.
2 more suspects have been arrested in the theft of the Tabernacle from St. Robert's Catholic Church in El Campo. El Campo police told us 34-year-old Ryan Cruz Reyes was arrested this morning and faces felony charges of tampering with evidence and evading arrest. Earlier this week, 60-year-old Sandra Rivera Hedges was taken into custody and charged with tampering with evidence in this case. She is the mother of 44-year-old Thomas James Graham, who is accused of theft and property and criminal mischief and damage to a place of worship in the Tabernacle theft. 29-year-old Jose Manuel Jaramillo faces those same charges in this case. Church officials tell the El Campo Leader News additional items have been returned to them, but not everything.
Due to its location, the city of Goliad has dealt with illegal immigration, seeing the effects of the influx of migrants firsthand.
25 News Now weekend anchor Adam Seibel has more. Adam?
That's right, Don and Karina. So today I spoke with Goliad County Sheriff Roy Boyd about the issue of illegal immigration right here in the Crossroads and a task force that he helped form to take down human smuggling operations. Sheriff Boyd says there isn't an exact number on the amount of persons being illegally smuggled into the Crossroads, but that number is well into the 6 figures annually. A task force between law enforcement agencies has been successful in shutting down human smuggling operations, so much so that Sheriff Boyd says many cartel operations have now completely avoided setting up in Goliad altogether.
When you look at the situation, you realize that the government is actually assisting the transnational criminal organizations in their smuggling, because what this really is, it's not immigration. This is really slave trade, because most of these people are going to find themselves in indentured servitude right here in the United States, working for cartels or the people that the cartels sell them to. And it's something that we've said for a long time. This is good versus evil. And we can't allow this to continue, because we're not a nation that was built upon evil, but we find ourselves having to fight that evil on a daily basis. Unfortunately, our federal government is not on our side. In order to bring this to an end, we're going to have to understand that Mexico is not on our side. The government of Mexico is not an ally to the United States with regard to this issue. That's not to say the people of Mexico aren't, but their government is not. And we're going to have to take a hard stand against what is going on in Mexico and prevent their government from profiting off of the illegal smuggling of drugs and humans into the United States.
That task force came out of Governor Abbott's Lone Star Operation funding, something that Sheriff Boyd says is crucial in fighting transnational criminal organization. Sheriff Boyd says simply putting criminals behind bars and shutting down those cartel operations make our community safer. Don, Karina, back to you.
Adam, thank you. The Goliad City Council approved a tax rate hike during its meeting Wednesday night. The Goliad Advance Guard reports the tax rate is the highest the city can adopt without holding a special election to seek voter approval. And now let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Bettis.
Thank you very much. Lots of sunshine again today. Right now, the current temperature is at 93. And yeah, we're trying to get rid of these numbers, but it's been hard. I mean, we got up to 97 today. The frontal system that I'm talking about may drop us down to about 91 next week. That's some improvement. We'll talk more about that coming up in a moment. Back to you.
Mac, thank you. We now go back to the border with thousands of migrants crossing over the weekend and into the week.
This as U.S. and Texas resources are being stretched.
A state of emergency is declared by the mayor in Eagle Pass, Texas, as the surge of migrants crossing the border continues. Also, in response to the surge, the Defense Department is deploying more than 800 new active duty personnel to the U.S.-Mexico border. Around 2,700 migrants crossed into the U.S. near Eagle Pass on Tuesday, while another 3,000 migrants crossed on Wednesday. Many migrants trekking a dangerous path.
What we consider to be a humanitarian crisis is what the people endure on the journey to the border in the hands of smugglers. We see so much trauma, so much tragedy.
Some people are drowning. Some people are dying in some of those ranches. If we find bodies or bones, whatever. So why take a risk? Why make those people come like this?
The Biden administration is providing humanitarian relief for Venezuelans by issuing more work permits.
We can't spike the ball, but we appreciate that 15,000 migrant asylum seekers are now something that we can look towards moving out of our care.
In the meantime, U.S. Customs and Border Protection is temporarily suspending traffic at the Texas border crossing to help the U.S. Border Patrol take migrants into custody.
It's something very strange. Never thought I was going to see something like that in Eagle Pass.
I'm Ivan Rodriguez reporting.
Also at the border, agents say a 3-year-old child drowned while a family was attempting to cross the Rio Grande. DPS said the child's body was found and taken to the hospital where they were pronounced dead. The child's family was reportedly trying to cross the Rio Grande when the child was swept away by the current. The family is one of the many in this week's massive surge at the southern border. On Wednesday, an estimated 5,000 migrants arrived in Maverick County, with thousands more expected to arrive today. The mayor of Eagle Pass signed an emergency declaration to attract federal money to cope with the surge.
Here's a closer look at the situation along the U.S. southern border. A group of around 100 migrants from Venezuela currently stuck on the banks of the Rio Grande. The group says they're not willing to cross back to Mexico because it's, quote, too dangerous, unquote. They say they were robbed and attacked in Mexico and want to wait for U.S. authorities to let them in. A state of emergency declared for Eagle Pass on Tuesday at the site of the migrant surge.
In response to the migrant crisis at the southern border, Governor Greg Abbott tweeted and declared an invasion at the border because of President Biden's policies. He continued to say that the Texas National Guard, DPS, and local law enforcement were deployed and that a border wall is under construction, as well as other enforcement on the way. So here is your viewer poll this evening. Scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, do you agree with Governor Abbott's tweet that Texas is being invaded by migrants? Yes or no? According to these results, 71% stand at yes and 29% stand at no. We want to hear your opinion on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 10.
The debate over whether a high school student in the Houston area should be serving in-school suspension for wearing twisted dreadlocks to class intensified this week. KPRC reports 17-year-old Daryl George has been suspended at Barbers Hill High School since August 31st. School officials say his dreadlocks violate the district's dress code. George's mother and the family's attorney filed a formal complaint with the Texas Education Agency. Barbers Hill ISD filed a lawsuit in state district court. Newly reinstated Attorney General Ken Paxton went on a tour of talk radio Thursday morning, revealing new details about his impeachment trial. The Texas Tribune reports Paxton discussed how much the trial cost him, over $4 million, he says, and vowed to get involved in primary challenges to House Republicans who voted to impeach him. Paxton said he'll be campaigning next year against fellow Republican and House Speaker Dade Phelan, who he feels led the impeachment charge. Paxton also did not rule out running against Senator John Cornyn.
We now go to Washington, D.C., where the threat of a potential government shutdown is still looming.
But another matter that had also been in limbo for part of this year is starting to resolve. A San Antonio native is the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
And the nomination is confirmed.
Better late than never.
Under the previous order, the motion to reconsider is made and laid upon the table, and the president will be immediately notified of the Senate's actions.
The Senate confirms the nomination of General C.Q. Brown as the next chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Wednesday night's vote came after a months-long stalemate that held up hundreds of military promotions, led by Alabama Senator and former college football coach Tommy Tuberville.
Well, we finally came to a little bit of conclusion, but it's about time. We should have done these a long time ago.
Tuberville has been holding up votes over his opposition to a Defense Department policy reimbursing travel costs for service members who would go across state lines to seek an abortion. In order to get the ball rolling, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer moved to have 3 positions, including General Brown's, voted on separately from the block opposed by Tuberville.
If everyone objected to everything to get leverage for their pet priorities, it will grind this body to a halt.
Brown's confirmation passed by a vote of 83 to 11. The no votes came from Tuberville and 10 other Republican senators, including Josh Hawley of Missouri, Marco Rubio of Florida, and Ted Cruz of Texas. I'm John Lawrence reporting.
For more on today's news stories, come to crossroadstoday.com. Read about the Writers Guild making progress in talks to end strikes under top stories. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button, click the notification bell, then you can see Crossroads Today on YouTube. And stay with us. Coming up on 25 News now at 6. A bus in New York crashes into an embankment, killing 1 person and sending dozens to the hospital.
Also ahead, we head to Georgia, where a Chick-fil-A worker saves a child from choking to death. A horrific tragedy in New York today. A bus carrying high school students rolled down an embankment, killing 1 person and injuring dozens of students. Emergency personnel said the person killed was an adult who was ejected from the vehicle. 5 passengers who were critically hurt are all believed to be juveniles. The victims were students heading to band camp for a music event who have now been all transported to local hospitals.
A Chick-fil-A worker in Georgia being hailed a hero after she jumped into action to save a choking 3-year-old.
Yeah, the 18-year-old worker used the Heimlich maneuver, and 3 thrusts later, a coin flew out of the young girl's mouth.
Look, Thea, who's that? It was a pit stop Liliana Leahy did not plan on taking Monday.
Can I give you a hug?
Can you give her a hug? Today, it's one she wanted to make.
With her, like, ice cream face.
I love it.
Thank you so much again. Like, I cannot believe this. Like, you were there.
Leahy was on her way to Walmart with her daughter Thea in the back seat when her motherly instinct told her to stop at the Noonan Chick-fil-A off Highway 34.
You're all set. You have a blessed day. Somebody tells like, go make a turn, go make a turn. And I'm like, so I did that turn.
A life-saving turn.
And she started like, ah. I couldn't talk and everything. So I started like screaming. It's like, hey, help me, somebody help me. My daughter is choking. I just panicked, so I just like asking for help. I was really, really scared for her, honestly.
Screams.
Hurry. You're all set. You have a blessed day.
Answered by Chick-fil-A team member Mia Isabella Velez.
To be honest, I originally thought they were laughing and having a good time, and sure enough, that was not the case.
That's when Mia, who was working the drive-through line, sprung into action, running to the parking lot to save 3-year-old Thea.
My instinct just kicked in, and I dropped my iPad, and I just started running directly to her.
Jumping out of the drive-through line and into her arms, Mia gave Thea the Heimlich maneuver. 3 thrusts later, this coin flew out.
I think it was humongous. I had seen it in the moment, but seeing it now, I was like, I forgot that that's what came out of your mouth.
The first thing that she said is literally like, I want an ice cream.
This picture was taken shortly after. Mia serving Thea ice cream with a side of heroism.
It's surreal when you hear that, like you saved her life. Like you don't expect to get that title. And it's a lesson for all of us to learn that you could be that light to somebody else. And I'm so glad that I got to be the one for that family.
A family grateful that 18-year-old Mia, who moved from California just 2 months ago, was at their unplanned pit stop at the right time. In Noonan, Paul Lucero, 11 Alive News.
Kraft recalling roughly 83,000 cases of individually wrapped Kraft Singles American cheese. The company said the faulty American cheese singles could pose a choking hazard. Kraft issued the recall after several customers complained of finding plastic on their cheese.
Well, we had another sunny day. You might have felt the humidity. It did go up, and you did a little perspiration, but it was a fairly quiet day. There were a couple of afternoon thunderstorms out in the Houston area. The big stuff is actually up in North Texas, and that's part of that system that will move down here on Monday and maybe help us cool down a bit. We'll be talking more about that and taking a look at the Atlantic coming up in just a moment. Well, good afternoon, everyone. For tomorrow, of course, a lot of folks have plans, but also a lot of football fans have plans too. The game of the week here at Crossroads Football Live is the Shiner Comanches and the Ganado Indians. As you see, they'll be at Comanche Stadium. Right now, we're looking at a game time kickoff temperature of 90 degrees. Partly cloudy, and there is a 30% chance of some scattered showers, but these are not going to be as strong as what we had last week. So look for a little garden variety shower activity. In fact, while we didn't have anything here, we did up there between Houston and Beaumont. You can see how they just sort of pop up in the afternoon and then just collapse very rapidly. So that's what we're expecting down here, and that's tomorrow afternoon. The bigger stuff is up in north of Dallas, up toward Denton, as you see right about there, and that's actually triggered by an upper air low, which is sort of spinning in this fashion, and that's why you see that they still have the potential to get some severe weather tonight up there along the Red River and out in the Panhandle. Been quiet for us, and of course, you know, we need more rain. We're working on getting something going. In fact, I went to see the future tracker, the extended outlook, go through Sunday, Monday, all the way to Tuesday. So that's basically, you know, 5 days, and we totaled it up. So it looks like that we may have maybe a half an inch of rain between now and then. So this is storm total every day accumulating. Not a lot, but it hopefully is something associated with that little front that should be moving down to our region. Now, it's not a cold front, it's a not so hot front, okay? We did get up to 97 today, 95 down in Port Lavaca. Highs tomorrow, they're forecast still to be in the mid 90s, pretty much all of the state. So we can't just get any kind of, fall weather going just yet. We're still under a bit of a ridge. See the ridge right about here? That's the ridge. That means that pressure is down here a little bit higher than up to the north. And when they're that high, it doesn't allow any rainfall to get going. Now, here's one little band that's going to come down the top of the ridge right down into East Texas, and that will give us that a little chance for shower activity over the weekend. Here's the better event. That won't be until Monday when that front actually gets down to our region and helps, destabilize the atmosphere. Strange concerns on the East Coast. This is a low that's going to develop off of Florida, and it's moving northbound. It's not a tropical storm. However, it is going to be like a tropical storm, dropping tremendous rainfall, 10 to 15 inches along the East Coast over the next couple of days. They're calling it a potential tropical cyclone number 16. It's right about here, and all the computer models take it northbound right along the Carolina coast, and even DC and lots of New Jersey is going to get a lot of rain, probably even the Big Apple as well. So let's take a look at the Atlantic. There's we don't worry about him. There's the 16 that's moving north, and as far as we're concerned, that's very far away from us. We're looking for a 92 tomorrow in Port Lavaca with more clouds and a couple of afternoon showers. A little bit warmer, 96 in Cuero with partly cloudy and afternoon showers. And then we'll just say that Friday and Saturday and Sunday are about the same in terms of rain chance. Gets a little bit better on Monday when the tail end of that front finally makes it through. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Here's Karina.
Thank you, Mac. And now here's Sports Director Gina Perez.
Thanks, Karina. It's almost time for some Thursday night football. Well, high school varsity football, that is. That's coming up after the break. At a Crossroads. Crossroads Football Live technically starts tonight, and sports reporter Zach Brown is in Refugio for yet another home game for the Orange and Black, getting ready for the Bloomington Bobcats. He has the latest.
Yeah, Gino, here in Refugio, the Bobcats getting ready to take on the Bobcats of Bloomington. Refugio sitting atop the Class 2A state rankings, coming in at number 2, but coming off a week in which a lot of games got canceled. In fact, both teams did not play last week. Refugio's last game was the wild finish over the Edna Cowboys. I know a lot of you remember that game. The Bobcats said afterwards they knew they had something special. Edna is an elite 3A team, and the Bobcats were able to come out on top. Refugio, of course, led by Keelan Brown, who is still only a junior. They've got an elite receiver in Ernest Campbell, but there is gold medal track speed all over this field for Refugio, and they've also got quite the running game, led by Jordan King, who was our athlete of the week a few weeks ago after his 235-yard performance against Edna. Refugio looking to stay atop the Class 2A state rankings and defend its home field, with the Bloomington Bobcats looking to pull an upset and maybe shock some people and make this a much closer game than a lot of people are expecting. Last year, the Refugio Bobcats were able to win this game handily, but Bloomington looking like a much different team, and they've got some very good athletes that a lot of people don't know about just yet, but maybe they will by the end of this season. We'll have highlights from this game at 10. Reporting in Refugio, Zach Brown, KVUE-TV 25 News Now Sports.
Thanks, Zach. The UHV Jags men's team recently set a record 7 goals in a single game last week. One player had the majority of the scores and is only a freshman. And sports reporter Zach Brown has the athlete of the week.
The Jags have entered this season with one goal in mind, winning a conference title. And to begin their journey to that goal, they opened conference play with 7 of them, 4 of them from star freshman Yahir Pena, who is still adjusting to life in a new city, but has already put on a show in his first conference showdown.
At first it's hard because I always live with my parents, but it's part of life. We have to grow up, and now I'm adjusting. I think I'm adjusting pretty well, like having chemistry with my teammates, with my roommate, and I think it's pretty going good. It was my first conference game, so I mean, like, that was really good. My first game scoring 4 goals, breaking a record, and just excited for the season.
Yahir wasn't heavily recruited coming out of high school. Head coach Adrian Rigby and the UHV staff was the first to reach out to Yahir in high school and watch him play. He knew then he would be a Jag and has developed a close relationship with Rigby, who also has high remarks for his standout freshman.
When Coach Rigby talked to me, that was like the first college coming to see me play, and I was like, you know what, he's the first one that came out, and he wanted me, and I just decided to stay here. Well, I tend to joke around a lot, and he knows that I'm always playing around with him, but like when I know he wants to be serious, I'll be serious. Like, I like that relationship when you know you can joke around with your coach and play around with them, but when you have to be serious, we'll be serious.
Yeah, we've had some talented freshmen over the years, so he came in and he's done a real good job. Doesn't really carry himself like a freshman. He's full of confidence, and that showed. I mean, he scored 4 goals and set the record, so we're very happy for him and the team.
This video here is Yahir Pena's 4th goal against Texas College, a record-setting performance, making him your athlete of the week.
And also, we've got some bad news for the Dallas Cowboy fans out there. Trayvon Diggs, the cornerback, probably the best one on the team, is out with a torn ACL, so he'll be out for the rest of the year. That's your sports. Don and Karina, back to you.
Thank you, Dino. We're back in a moment. Thousands of minks loose in Pennsylvania after someone broke into a mink farm.
Finally tonight, days after thousands of minks were released from a Pennsylvania fur farm, some have been caught while others are still running wild. According to state police, someone broke into a mink farm. They cut holes in the fencing and opened up the cages. Authorities say the minks will range in size from 12 to 20 inches. They will be black, brown, or white in color. So instead of mink stole, it would be minks stolen.
Stolen minks.
Stolen minks. And they've also warned people in that area of Pennsylvania, they're little minks. No, they are a little dangerous.
Yeah.
They're aggressive,
Yeah,
they're ornery, they have sharp teeth.
Sharp teeth.
So
They're very
beware.
soft.
Very soft.
But,
Yeah, but their teeth are not soft.
Teeth are not soft at all.
Aggressive little guys.
Yeah, but apparently there was a break out there. They didn't think about winter coats or anything like that. Get out of here. Anyway, folks, for us, we nothing like winter around here. We've got summer-like temperatures. We're looking at 95 for tomorrow's high, and just a slight chance of a shower as we go into the weekend. A little better chance of a shower on Monday when the tail end of a frontal system moves through our area. So if you see any rain tomorrow afternoon, not to worry. Shouldn't be anything as strong as what we had last weekend when a lot of games got affected by it. But our game of the week will be Shiner and
Ganado.
And at 10 o'clock at night on Friday, all the scores are right here. Okay?
That's right.
Is that right, Don?
That's right. Don't need to go anywhere else. High school scores right here.
Got them all here.
Thank you, Mac. Thanks for joining us.
We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.